Welcome to our training on strategies to build partnerships and alliances. In addition to watching this presentation, the training includes reviewing the documents that are attached in the lesson media section of this lesson and completing the attached quiz with a passing score of at least 70%. We hope that you enjoy this presentation and find it useful in your daily work. The greatest challenge in developing this presentation is that nearly all of the literature in the field of human services partnerships and alliances addresses the issue on an organizational level. Yet, you as a case manager are not working on the organizational level, negotiating agreements with other organizations in your community. You are working with the individuals on your caseload, and you are working at a very personal level. Additionally, much of the literature on human services partnerships and alliances focuses on the financial advantages of developing this relationship. The only financial concerns that you have in your work is the safety net that financial security provides for the individuals that you serve. The focus of case management work is the improvement of the life conditions of the individuals served. The focus is on housing, work, required support services, socialization, and meaningful involvement in the community. So how can we apply the knowledge from the literature in the field to our very personal involvement with the people we serve? What we will do in this training is first look at what the literature in the field recommends for developing partnerships and alliances on the organizational level, and then apply these principles to our work with individuals. First, we're going to look at 5 steps for building an effective partner program. The first step is to start with the end in mind. In developing organizational partnerships, we must start with the question of why do we want to develop a partnership? If we don't know what the purpose of the partnership is, we can't evaluate if we've been successful. Do we want to increase the number of people served? Do we want to add additional services? Do we want to develop new competencies? Is there something else that we want to accomplish? These questions need to be answered before we begin a partnership program. The second step is to find the right partners. Once we know where we are headed, we need to identify who can help us get there. In finding the right partner, it is more than just finding who checks off all the boxes. It is equally important to find partners who are engaged, collaborative, and as committed as you are to your customer's success. Important questions to ask in evaluating partners include: what services do they provide, and what problems do they solve? Are their methods effective? What is the stability of their organization? Do their customers overlap with ours? What are the skills that the organization can bring to the agreement, and do their values align with ours? By answering these questions, we can uncover the partners who are best aligned with our organization and best positioned to help us achieve our goals. The third step is to commit to driving mutual value. One of the biggest mistakes that an organization can make is not being able to answer the question, what's in it for my partner? If we are not crafting a partnership that is mutually beneficial from the start, we're missing the point. Successful alliances focus on driving value for both parties, but far too many people come to the table with their own list of asks and no insight into what they can do to help their partner. The balance of give and get sets the stage for an equitable and healthy relationship where both partners, and more importantly, our customers, win. The fourth step is to operationalize the partnership. Structuring an alliance, recruiting the right partner, and formalizing the agreements aren't simple tasks. And all that these steps get us to is the starting line. The value of the partnership comes when we activate these relationships and nurture them over time. Some of the important steps include developing a joint plan, agreeing on the measure for success, participating in consistent communication, and rewarding one another for success. Successful partnerships take ongoing care and feeding. Investing time and energy with key partners will help move the needle on the outcomes you set for yourselves and for your partner. The final step is to measure impact. Remember step 1, where we considered why we wanted to form the partnership? We need to develop ways of measuring our success of meeting that goal. Like any goal, we need to make it specific and ensure that we have a mechanism in place to measure it. Make sure to get buy-in from the partner. The activity has to be mutually beneficial. And finally, put the goals in writing and share progress updates frequently. An article titled Principles and Practices for Nonprofit Excellence discussed some ideas about partnerships and alliances. The first idea is to have a strategy for creating connections. Organizations need to be aware of developments and changes in the field, including opportunities for coordination and joint action with other organizations. The organizations should seek appropriate partnerships to achieve goals, increase impact, and strengthen connections with shareholders, including the people that we serve. These partnerships should be consistent with the strategic goals and mission of the organization. The second step is to identify steps for joint decision-making. Organizations should determine the resources needed in the partnership and the costs and benefits of the partnership. These partnerships should establish clear roles and responsibilities to ensure accountability and develop processes for changing the agreement. And finally, the organizations need to clearly identify how decisions will be made through collaboration. The third step identified in this article is to develop coordination with other organizations. Within the nonprofit community, we should not be identifying other organizations in our community that provide similar or complementary services as competitors. Instead, these other organizations are possible partners. To do this, we need to work to establish open communication channels, mutual understandings, and beneficial alliances. Where possible, nonprofit organizations should assist other nonprofit organizations through sharing resources, connections, and expertise. The final discussion of what we've learned from the field presents foundational steps for collaboration. The first step we've previously discussed is to identify who our potential partners are. Our community partners should include individuals and organizations that can make meaningful and ongoing contributions and bring a diverse set of voices. Second, we need to develop a shared vision. Both organizations' mission and vision should be aligned so that we can find areas of commonality. Third is to develop shared goals. While specific objectives might differ between organizations, defining specific objectives into a common goal will help to build trust between the partners. Another way to do that has been identified to build trust in the relationship is to sponsor co-training opportunities where the partner organizations can come together in common training. Fourth is to nurture and grow the relationship at every level. Organizations need to identify mechanisms for bringing staff together. The partnership expectations and responsibilities must be clearly identified. We build relationship by consistently showing respect. And the final step focuses on communication. Communication is vital to effective relationships and requires shared expectations about the frequency and methods of contact, as well as ample opportunity to engage through open communication channels. One important part of the communication is to be open and transparent about the challenges within the partnership. So the last 3 slides looked at some of the information about building relationships on an organizational level. What we would like to do now is to go back through each of those slides and discuss how each of these ideas can be applied in the work that we do with the individuals that we serve. The first information that we want to look at is the 5 steps for building an effective partner program. Remember, step 1 is start with the end in mind. For the individual with whom we are working, we would consider for looking for a partnership when there is a goal or functional area for that person that we are having difficulty meeting through our traditional services. The end in mind that we are looking for here is the client goal for which we are considering a partner. And I would add, if we are having trouble meeting that goal for a number of our clients, then we definitely want to consider building a partnership to meet that goal. The second step is to find the right partners. Once we have identified an unmet need for the person we're serving, we need to find out who in our community can help the person meet that need. On an individual level, case managers do not want to get engaged in trying to develop an organization-to-organization partnership. Instead, once we have identified where the services that we need are located, we want to identify a key staff person in that program with whom we can develop a less formal partnership. We still want to make sure that the person we identify is engaged, collaborative, and as committed as we are to the individual's success. The third step is to commit to driving mutual value. Remember, a successful partnership is beneficial for both partners. While the person with whom you are partnering is helping you out in meeting an unmet need for the person with whom you are working, you need to identify how you can be beneficial to the person that is helping you. Do they have people with whom they are working that they have unmet needs that you may be able to help with? Can you be a benefit in some other way? Partnerships will only work when they are beneficial to everyone involved. The fourth step is to operationalize the agreement. This step normally applies to organizations, but there are some steps to operationalizing that apply on the individual level. First, we want to be clear about our commitments to one another, including what each of us is going to do, how we will communicate, and how we will measure success. Second, for the partnership to be successful, we want to nurture the partnership, investing time and energy in the work that both of us are doing. The final step is to measure impact. How are we going to know that our partnership has been successful? We need to go back to step 1, which is what our goal for the person that we are serving was. How are we going to measure successful completion of that goal? How will we know that we are done with this particular need and may want to move on with our partner to other needs or needs for other individuals. In our second slide, we looked at 3 ideas from the article Principles and Practices for Nonprofit Excellence. First, we need to have a strategy for creating connections. As a case manager, it is critical for us to know all of the various human service and social service organizations in our community. It is not good enough for us to have a service guide and know about the organizations. Instead, in order to develop partnerships on an individual level, we need to know the people within those organizations. Therefore, the primary strategy is to make our introductions to the other organizations and identify key people there with whom we can build relationships. The second step is to identify steps for joint decision making. Always remember that the person served is in charge of the decision making. In our partnership, we want to make sure that our partner, as a part of the support team, and is available to provide consultation and collaboration with the person served, and the remainder of our team in making decisions. The final step is coordination. Not necessarily coordination between organizations, but coordination between people. The other person in the partnership with you is not a competitor, but a collaborator. Always remember that we are in this partnership to better serve the person with whom we are working. The final of the 3 slides on what we have learned from the field focused on foundational steps for collaboration. We've already discussed how we identify our partners on an individual level. The next step is to develop a shared vision. Important in developing individual partners is to assure that the vision and approach to the person served is shared. We want to make sure that we continue to offer, even in our partnerships, person-centered, strength-based, and recovery-oriented services. If we have that shared vision, we then move forward to developing shared goals. Again, the person served has final say on goals. What we share with our partners is a shared understanding of how we work together to help the person served meet his or her own goals. The final steps are growing the relationship and communication. We've talked about some of the strategies for developing the relationship with our partners and for building trust. Here, we want to focus on communication. Communication with our partners needs to be open, honest, and consistent. Our final topic is self-assessment, how we determine the need for partnerships. First, we want to thoroughly understand what our challenges are in serving our clients. Is this particular difficulty only experienced with this client, or is it a difficulty that we experience across a number of clients? We need to identify what gaps we have in our normal service array that we have available to the people that we serve. One of the hallmarks of case managers is their creativity in finding resources for their clients. What this training is suggesting is that partnerships with other individuals in other service organizations is an expansion of that creativity. It becomes another tool in our toolbox. In consideration that partnerships rely upon both of the partners receiving some benefit, part of our self-assessment needs to be what strengths we have to offer to others with whom we may partner. All of us have strengths. Discover what yours are. And the final part of our self-assessment is to identify the skills that we have in relationship building. If this is one of your strengths, good for you. If it's not one of your strengths, then maybe we've identified an area of growth. Building relationships is an essential skill in developing individual level partnerships, and it is an essential skill in providing case management services. This completes our training on strategies to build partnerships and alliances. There are a couple of documents that are attached to this lesson in the lesson media section of the lesson. Please review these documents as a part of this lesson. Remember that in order to successfully complete the lesson, you must complete the attached quiz with a passing score of 70%. Thank you for your attention, and good luck with the quiz.